Hey guys, bear with me a moment. Just kind of getting everything situated and into place. You can hear me. Maybe can hear me well-ish, better. Yeah, let's do this. Hang on. Like I said, just trying to get everything situated here for us. I know we're not at all in focus, but if you bear with me a moment, we'll get that situated too. Here we go. We got the kit. We got everything else. I think is probably not going to need much in the way of tools. Obviously, there's sticker decals, but not really much for stickers. Let's see. 2.0 RG equals 4.0 MG in 2026. I don't know about that. I mean, who knows? You know. Missed the previous stream. Will the obelisk figurize be good? I mean, yeah, I didn't. Let's see. I've only built the what is it? The soldier kit. What was it? Of the Yu-Gi-Oh figurized standard kits. I think that's the only one that I've built. Was that soldier one? But it was good. Yeah, I mean, the obelisk looks pretty impressive for sure. So let's get down to business, shall we? Got all the parts already all separated out and everything here for us. And here's the instructions. We got the sticker sheet. Not going to be using that for today. Just going to set that there. I don't know. Maybe we might throw a couple stickers on there just to show how those look. But we got a lot of parts, a lot of little parts and everything too. So you do have the full core fighter and everything in there. Some very interesting differences with this kit compared to the 1.0. So let me just say, as we're getting into it, I'll kind of give you guys some info on kind of what are my immediate thoughts on like the differences with this version of the kit. And number one, I find it interesting. That's not straight at all, is it? Let's straighten that out a little bit. I find it interesting that the very first, the 1.0 of this was the very first kit in the real grade line, and it introduced a couple of key features of the real grade line that have continued for the most part, and to one degree or another, up until like throughout the real grade line, until this kit's kind of breaking a couple of traditions there. So number one, this kit has none of the pre-molded frame. It's typically the B runner, the advanced MS joint runner. You don't have any of that with this kit. This is all the parts for the torso and the core fighter. So you don't have any of the pre-molded frame at all, which is interesting because even on a few of the recent releases in this line, in the real grade line, for the past, I don't know, 10 major real grade releases, we have kind of noticed a steady decline of them getting, using less and less of that advanced MS joint for the kits, where it wasn't like the full frame, it would just be parts of the frame. And then even like for like a couple of the kits, it was like just like for the real grade new Gundam, I think it was, we only had those advanced MS joint parts just for the funnels, for example. So this is the first one that has absolutely nothing at all, no advanced MS joint runner at all. And that's the main difference. The other difference is that it doesn't have very much of the like two-tone colored armor. It does have two-tone white armor. It's mostly all one color, and like there is going to be a small handful of parts that are in a little bit of like a little bit more cream, light gray, off-white kind of color. But as far as the red parts are all just one shade of red, and the blue parts are all just one shade of blue. So we have less of that like multi-tone colored armor with this one. So those are going to be the two main differences. And for me personally, I'm kind of fine with both of those differences. I mean, the two-tone colored armor is kind of nice, kind of cool, but you can always just paint the armor. And even if you don't fully paint, if you wanted the just like a couple, like if you wanted like a couple of the blue parts to be in like a little bit different shade, you can, without fully painting the kit, you can just either paint just only those few little parts, or you could even just not even fully paint the parts, but just put a filter layer, even just using some like enamel paint or something like that. Put a light filter over the parts, either lighter or darker, and just make them look a slightly different color. So real easy workaround for that. So not a huge loss, not that big a deal. I'm fine with that. As far as losing the articulated frame, losing the there's, I can't remember what Bandai, there's a word for that type of runner, for the advanced MS joint runner. I can't remember what it's called. Injection something. I don't know. Anyway, the advanced MS joint runner. I don't mind about that at all. Because yeah, like I said, the main thing that I worry about with these kits is, is the kit going to look good? Which in that case, the frame doesn't matter at all. And then is the kit able to do everything it needs to do without having to worry about and the frame either hindering it or being too weak or too tight or whatever, too prone to breaking. And most of the time, the advanced MS joint runners didn't cause any issue really. It's just kind of like an added feature that's just kind of unnecessary. Really doesn't really do that much to help the kit. If anything, in some cases it made like some weak points that were prone to breaking. So I'm kind of fine with this being out of there. Now, the one thing that I'm going to be interested to hear people's feedback on is that this is something that people have been saying about the real grade line for a while. I'm not saying that I agree with this, but people have been saying that like they're pretty much just like mini master grades. And that's kind of a line that I'm sure you've heard before. People say they're just mini master grades at this point. And personally, I mean, I don't get what's bad about that. If they're mini master grades, I mean, that sounds good to me. I don't know. I mean, I think the reason why people were saying that as a bad thing was that they enjoyed what made the real grade line different, like the advanced MS joint, like the multicolored armor. So if you enjoy the real grade line for the reasons of what makes the real grade line more unique, then you might be a little bit disappointed with this release because it kind of does away with those, as I've just explained. But I mean, if you just want a good, solid, nice, interesting kit, then in that case, I think you'll be happy with this one. But I'm just now building it for the first time myself, so we'll certainly see. But my first impression of the kit, even just from the images that we saw of it initially, I mean, we all knew it's going to be a nice kit. I mean, be kind of hard for Bandai at this point to slip backwards in any way in terms of their production quality of the model kits that they're putting out. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the kit's going to be solid. But what I'm really interested is because, like, you can tell just by looking at the production images and what Bandai puts out about the kit. You can tell, I mean, it's going to be a good kit and everything. So there's not really much surprising about that. But the thing that I look forward to building with kits like this, that you can't really glean from just the images and just seeing the kit, one thing that I do enjoy is once I actually get the chance to build the kit for myself, there's a lot more that you can kind of discover about the kit once you have the opportunity to actually build it in hand. So just the building process is what I'm looking forward to experiencing with this one. And so so far, now that we're just kind of just starting the build of the torso. It's certainly a unique process so far. And just on the note of them being mini master grades, and like I said, I don't really see what's the bad side of that, as you know, everybody loves master grades and everybody wants more master grades. So in a way, if we're getting mini master grades, at least it's something, you know, it doesn't have the size, but it's still like building a master grade. But other than that, the nice thing about these is that you get like the complexity and the detail of a master grade is just a little smaller. So, I mean, so long as you don't mind that it's a bit smaller, it is sort of, in a way, kind of filling the gap of the fewer master grades that we have these days by having mini master grades. I wonder if Bandai will ever come out with an actual like mini master grade line, because I feel like the master grade SD, of course, which are sort of like that. But if they were to actually come out with like just smaller, I mean, I guess they would just, I don't know what they would do if they were to actually come out with anything like that. If they would rebrand it, or like have the proportions different in some way or something, I don't know. Because if it's going to be in different proportions, then it seems like the MGSD is kind of already the line for that. If they just want to go to a smaller scale, then real grade is pretty much that. So I'm wondering if there's anything that they could do that wouldn't be MGSD, but it wouldn't be real grade, but something sort of like a mini master grade, maybe just in like a kind of some scale in between, like 1/120 scale. Would be just kind of weird and awkward to introduce a new scale, which is just hasn't been like used in terms of Gunpla. So I don't know. I don't know what exactly that would be, but it certainly would be interesting if they were going to roll out some sort of mini master grades. Now, okay, I'm putting this together wrong, so this would help to do it the correct way. Got this little part here on first. So far, the construction is very unique. And sometimes when I'm building kits where the construction is not something that I'm like used to, what can happen is that like it really slows down the production process, because like I'm used to just like building Gunpla where, you know, it's all kind of pretty much by the numbers. I can just boom, 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 kind of blindly go through it. Let's see. Okay. But in this case, even though the construction is all very new feeling and very unique feeling, it is still pretty quick. So I think the way that that's laid out is still very intuitive. But it definitely does feel new, different, fresh. So that's good. It's new without being like, there's not going to be like any kind of like learning curve involved, which I don't think that wasn't expecting that there might be. But why can't I get this vent on? I'm sure that's the right way. Just maybe don't have this part pressed in all the way, I suppose. There we go. So now that I'm done ranting for a while, I'll check in with the chat, see what you guys are saying about this kit. How's the inner frame? So far, it's good. There's one thing about the inner frame too, is that there's going to be quite a lot of it poking out through the armor. That's one of the things with the design. So, okay, I'm going to stop right here for a second and actually zoom in so you guys can see a bit more too. We build this part, maybe some more. This is kind of a small kit. Like that. Okay. We build like the top half of the torso, and then you just have to kind of set that aside for a moment while you build the core fighter. So we build the core fighter here next, and then we kind of finish, and then you have to build like another part of the torso, and then you kind of put everything together. So let's see. No, it's like that. You do have a little clear part for the actual canopy of the core fighter. And I believe... Oh, one thing that I'm curious about too with the core fighter, and it's not entirely clear to me yet. I need to check what we've got going on here with this, but I'm wondering if you can assemble the kit without the core fighter installed. That's another thing that the original kit had that this one doesn't seem to have. Is the original had a kind of dummy block core fighter that you can put inside, so that you can just leave the actual like full core fighter as like a separate thing. You don't have to put it inside. Now this should be okay. Fitting over that. There we go. But we need to slide this out actually, or push that out. There's no core block in this kit. Yeah, which is strange. Yeah. I don't like that, because I would like to have the option to not have to have the core fighter actually inside. So I'm not a fan of the lack of the core block. It'd be cool. That would be cool. So, recently, while I'm trying to get this apart, it's kind of tight in small little pieces here. Recently, I took a look at a couple of like option part sets, and like one was for like the HG aerial, one was for the full mechanics aerial, and the other one was for the master grade Zeta Verka, where it was like option sets that was just like a couple of parts to change just like a couple of small features of those respective kits. And it would be cool to see something like that, a part set put out similar, just like a small little part set for this kit, just to give you a core block so that you don't have to put the core fighter inside the torso. I think that'd be really nice to see. That's just a small, like little $5 part set for this, just a couple of parts. I would like that. What do you guys think? I think it's a good idea. But all right, let's see. So for this one, let's see. Because I don't know, I've just never been a big core fighter fan myself. So supposed to put this one on here first. Where? Like that. All right, and then that folds down like that. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Shadow said, just now tuning in. How's it going? Good so far. We're building the core fighter. And also, let's see. If you guys missed the live stream earlier this morning, this is actually my third live stream of the day today. The live stream first thing in the morning was a live stream taking a look at some of the new stuff that was shown off at the All Japan Model and Hobby Show. Uh-oh. Let's see. Let's see. Hang on. So yeah, the first live stream was talking about the All Japan Model and Hobby Show, and then next did a live stream on the USA Gundam TV channel with Adam and I. We did our live stream there, and then now we're here. That's it. All right. So check out those other live streams if you're interested. Let's see, we got that, then we got this, then this side. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff shown off there at the hobby show. So a lot of great things coming out to look forward to. What are you guys most looking forward to? The RG Shining Gundam, of course, is the big news from Bandai. But is, of course, plenty of exciting news from other companies there as well. Kotobukiya had a lot of really cool stuff, as is usual. They always have lots of great stuff there to show off. So Kotobukiya had a lot of cool stuff. Of course, Max Factory. Oh, Artpla is the one that I didn't get a chance to look at. Darn. In the live stream this morning, didn't get a chance to look at the new Artpla stuff that's coming out from Kyoto. But they have some really cool things there to show off as well. And I've got some cool Artpla models that I need to build myself too. So here's our core fighter. And we do have landing gear for it. I have that in a different spot here in the bin. But there's the core fighter opened up like that. And then these parts are parts for the lower part of the torso that you kind of like need to put in between. So to transform it, we're just going to fold up the wings, push in the nose cone, fold that down, all pretty standard transformation, push up the fin at the back. And there's our core block there, or I guess transformed core fighter. All right, and then let's see. What about this one? Yeah, it goes like that. Wait. Like this. Okay. I mean, really nice construction here for this so far. That's for sure. All right. Let's see. What I would like to ask you guys' help on while we're here, before I go to record the review after this, is what is that interframe runner, the advanced MS joint runner? What is that called? I can't think of the word for that. Bandai has a word for that type of runner, that technology or whatever anyway. And this part, which I can't get to fit on there. Is there a different way to do this that I kind of like missed, or no, not really? Huh? Seems like this would have made sense to, oh, okay, and I'm putting it on the wrong spot. There we go. It's not advanced MS joint. There's the actual word that they use for that. It's like, it's not injection molded, but like something like for the actual technology of that. So, okay, here's our 3 sections now that make up the torso. So we're going to pop the cockpit hatch up in the front, and this part here at the back, you just pop that back, slide the transformed core fighter, right, up into there. There we go. And then this part here on the bottom, does that also like click into place or not really? All right, so cockpit hatch down, cockpit hatch, the lower part closed, the back part also then clips onto place to hold everything together. And there's our torso. Now, you can, like through the crack, kind of in the sides of the torso here, you can see that core fighter in there slightly. And that does mean that we're not really going to have any kind of ab crunch here with this. What it is, okay, so it's not actually crunching there in the abs, but actually it's just like the top half of the torso is able to move independently from basically the core of the Gundam, which makes sense. So, all right, so we have some range of movement there, but not really going to have anything side to side then in that case. But okay, let's build, the head is next. Let's do that. Well, I check in with the chat. What's going on with you guys? Excited for the Super Robot Wars kits? Yeah, multi-injection. It's called multi-injection. Is that right? Okay, That sounds right. I knew it was something like that. I'm gonna take your word for it. Polypropylene? No, that might be the actual material itself. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 parts here for the head. What was that HG kit that had like 14 parts for the head? I remember actually counting that out recently. So it's not like the most parts that I've ever seen in a Gundam kit head, but certainly a fair amount. Let's see, we got this clear pink part for the head cameras. That's going to fit up inside there. Separate part here for the neck, which should give us some nice neck articulation there, I feel like. Yellow part here for the eyes. So I'm not going to use any of the stickers for the actual cameras or eyes or anything. It's because it seems like everything's all pretty nicely engineered that you don't have to for any of that. So will the stickers possibly look better than just the parts? Maybe. Oh. Mecha Kotsu mentioned a fitting issue with the head. I didn't encounter that when I built this. Yep, I haven't noticed anything either at this point. I guess I could finish putting the head together. I just wanted to realize I hadn't had any music playing here. Forgetting about. Right. Yeah, I haven't noticed any issue part of the head with it. I mean, it's some really tiny parts, so you do kind of have to really take your time to cutting all the parts out and everything, removing the nubs and all that, to make sure that you do everything really carefully. But seems like just putting this last piece on there that I've got no issues here. All pretty good. So there's that, and we're good to go. Nice upward range of movement there at the neck, I will say. That looks really good. I like that. Audio did go wonky for a sec, but it's back to normal. Okay, sorry about that. The audio is okay now, right? Yeah. A couple people mentioning that it went weird for a second. What's next then? The backpack, actually. All right, we got that over here. And as it usually tends to happen with a shiny new kit like this, once I get it in hand, my hamster wheel mind starts turning, and I'm thinking like, what could I do with this, even though I have like 5 other works in progress right now? What could I possibly work on with this kit to make a cool custom out of it? And I had a really great idea that I'm super excited about, but yeah, I kind of want to try to avoid, more works in progress, but I will say the okay, turns the other way for some reason. The idea that I have is pretty cool, like I say. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a custom build of this right away or not, but let's just say I have an idea that I'm pretty happy with. I think would be pretty cool. I've got the these are the holding hands. I just kind of separated the hands a bit just to make my life easier. to be able to tell which parts go to which hand. We have fixed. That's another difference I should point out about this with the original kit. The hands for this one, we only have fixed posed swappable hands, which is, you know, a blessing, because as you guys know, that's my preferred type of hand options when it comes to these kits. So really glad to see that we have just fixed pose options for the hands. All right. Might actually switch that a little bit here. Fixed pose hand enjoyer, yeah. Right, yeah, so in most kits, you know, Bandai doesn't always give us fixed pose hands. Correct. That's true. But when we do have them, it's definitely my preference. So this one's nice. We get closed fists, open hands, holding hands for the beam sabers. So 2 of those, left and right, and then 1 trigger finger hand for the right side only. So if you wanted to do, like if you were to buy 2 of this kit and wanted to be able to hold like the 2 bazookas, because you do get 1 bazooka included, but if you wanted to do like the double bazooka RX-78-2, you only have 1 trigger finger hand for the left side. So that's kind of a shame. And that's how they get you to buy the P Bandai set, because I think the P Bandai set that comes with a second bazooka also includes parts for a left-handed trigger finger hand, I believe. So there's our backpack. Oh, and this part here, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, this part in the middle of the backpack, let me zoom in, show you. So the thruster bells will move independently up and down there, and then also this part right here, this little hatch opens up, and that gives us a hard point. I guess that's just for plugging the shield and or possibly bazooka into the backpack. I'm not sure. Although this little like light gray part looks like it might be what we latch the. Maybe it's just for an action base, because that part looks like what we hook the shield onto. I have the manual right here in front of me. I could look, but that would require turning the page, which I'm not ready to do yet. So anyway. All right. Next, we're on to the skirt armor. Hello, Nibu from Cebu. Neil from Cebu. Kind of mixed up everything there. Which Gundam kit do you think is the sexiest? Rosenzulu, probably. Leaving that hatch open, yeah. Leave that hatch open as a spot to plug in to a action base, it seems like. All right. You do have an actual color separated part for the little V in the crotch, which at 144 scale is pretty impressive, I'll say. And then let's see. Where's this other part here? Wait. Okay. That angles down. Just trying to see how this hip articulation's working. Very interesting mechanism here we have for the hip. The way these parts kind of fit together allows for the whole hip section to kind of drop down in a really interesting way here, for that to move up and down there like that. Yeah, very interesting. That's like that, and let's see. Skirt armor here. Oh, even the skirt armor has a particular orientation to go on. Also a lot of detail underneath the skirt too. Let's see. Is that all? I don't know. Seems like I didn't have that plugged in there all the way. Does that go in there more or what? Not really. What's the point of that? Maybe it does go in there more like that. It's to be kind of locked into place so the skirt armor doesn't fall off. So that is one area of the original 1.0 that the skirt armor did tend to fall off. So at least for that point, I'm not sure about what else, like what other like weak points of the original kit might have been like focused on as like places where they wanted to improve this version to make sure they fixed weak points of the original kit. The skirt armor does seem to be one, although I think I was not supposed to actually press those parts all the way through, because now these can't close all the way if those are actually pressed in all the way. So I think I'm not supposed to do that. Let's see. Oh yeah, looking at the picture, it doesn't look like they're actually pressed all the way through. So that might have been a mistake. There we go. But if they're not pressed in all the way, then they're, I don't know, kind of what's the point of making them and like to have like a notch to fit in like a certain way if it doesn't actually fit through entirely. Kind of odd. All right. And anyway, like I was saying, or I was starting to say, or was about to say, we do have a lot of detail even on like the underside of the skirt parts. If you look real close here, you can see it's the underside of the skirt armor right here. And then you have this, I'm not sure if you can see, like even on the white armor pieces of the skirt, even on the underside of these pieces, I'm not really even sure what's the point of even having all that detail on the inside of these white armor pieces. You have it too, like here, I noticed on like the arm, this is a part of the arm armor. You can see we have like some molded detail here, like kind of little hoses and just molded detail on the inside of this armor piece for the arm. So it's kind of weird, but I mean, okay, sure. All right, once we got those in place on there, then what's next? I feel like it looks kind of weird and something's probably on there wrong, but I'm just gonna carry on in hopes that everything's right. More locking notch here. Let's see. I think I put that on there wrong. I think so. Yep, that's also wrong. Damn. I'll just say I'm a fan of... Okay, let me show you what I mean, because I'm not really exactly sure the best way to describe this. Like these pegs here that have a little notch on it, so that like the part has to fit on a certain way. It has like, you have to like line up where the peg is, like the little notch there on the peg. I'm a fan of using that system for like larger load bearing parts, like for where like the arm connects onto the torso. A lot of times you have to like put the arm on like upside down and then rotate it to like lock it into place. And so like on those parts, I'm all for it, and I think that works great. But on parts like this, kind of unnecessary, and I'm just mad that I did it wrong and I'm having to fix it now. But yeah, it is maybe a little much to have that on parts like this. It's not really needed. All right. Anyway, let's try this again. Okay, so there should be a little dot on here facing up, which means this one actually goes over here on this side and then turns like that. I should have known that like the cutout part. No, it's not different anyway. I don't know. My mistake, but still, I can be mad about it. All right, so this part should go up like that. Okay, yeah, that looks right. Oh, the camera went off. All right, let me change that battery. Sorry about that. Yeah, you would think I don't need to use the camera battery and that the camera can just be plugged in, but for some reason it doesn't work with my capture card when it's plugged in. So I can just do that. Yeah. Yeah. Hello. Got the video. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, so anyway, the skirt armor. Let's see, that looks right there now. And then pop that in there. And what's one? This here is the latch for... What's that latch for? Also connecting onto an action base. Either that or connecting the bazooka to the back skirt or something. Not exactly sure. We'll see here in a moment. But this little latch here on the back. It's a little butthole flap there. All right. And then where are we? Where were we? Where am I? Certainly quite the complex arrangement here for skirt armor. And also interesting that it has us putting all the skirt armor, even including the side skirts, on now at this point, even before connecting the leg, because usually they have you leave off the legs until, or they have you leave off the side skirt armor until you have the legs connected, because otherwise it can be kind of hard to push the leg onto the joint if the skirt armor is in the way. But apparently not going to be the issue with this one, but we'll see about that. And also, wait, when did we finish the front skirt armor? Oh, I was meant to do that like right now. Okay. A couple of steps I'm kind of like looking past here. Kind of all over the place. This part here, this part there. And what's different? Okay. This one. Just like that. Had that happen to me before. Yes, Maximum Lurker. It is a stream here, and we are streaming. It's a very unique build here. Don't think. How can we tell the left and the right side of these? I don't know. I'm just gonna put it on and see if it looks right. If it looks right and it fits, then it's correct enough. But these two yellow parts here, the yellow parts for the front and the back are different. It's just I can't tell what's the difference between the left and the right. They're different. They're a different number in the manual, which means that the parts are different, apparently, slightly. But what exactly makes them different between the left and the right side, I couldn't quite tell, so just put them on, and yeah, like I said, if they fit and if they look correct, then it's correct enough. All right. And to be careful of that V fin, I feel like I almost just broke it off by accidentally pressing on it very slightly. But here's our body without any limbs yet. So can we finally get to the limbs? It would be good. We're gonna actually start with the arms. So yeah, that's another difference. Yet another difference. So we got the frame, the armor coloring, the hands, and the construction is the fourth. And I should make a note of this to make sure I don't forget anything in the review. That's the other big difference. Which is, again, not that big of a difference. But other difference between the 1.0 and this kit is the 1.0 RG, like many of the RGs, has you building the kit like from the feet up. This one's kind of the opposite. Well, we build it in kind of a more kind of standard order of construction, where we build like the torso and head first. That's pretty normal, in particular for HGs, and I feel like MGs as well. But yeah, real grades has always been a little bit different because you usually build like the feet first, and then you build the legs, and you kind of go up from there. But this one's saying, nope, we're doing it the normal way. Real grade is no longer going to stand out as doing things differently, and it's going to adapt to the times and fit in with everything else, I guess. That seems to me what's happening here. Let's see. And for the right arm, let's see, that's turned like that. Like that, okay. The V-fin on my MG Destiny broke, but I kind of like the damage look it gives it. Yeah, sometimes you can turn. Is it autofocusing? It might be a blur, just it's not on autofocus. That's the thing. I have it on manual focus because I don't want it autofocusing the whole time. The thing is that just like it's, you know, it is going to be in focus depending on where I'm holding the part. It's going to be in focus or not. So if I'm holding it here, it's going to change just because the depth of the focus there. Anyway, halfway legs take 80% of the time. Yeah, I don't know if I would say halfway. Yeah, maybe close. There are a lot of parts in the legs. That's true. So yeah, I am expecting the legs are going to take a little while. But kind of how it goes with the limbs, though, is that... Wait. That's backwards. That's correct. Okay. So, you know, like, for the arms, once you build the first arm, then the second arm's much faster. And with the legs, once you build the first leg, the second leg's much faster. But that's kind of how it goes with, like, a typical kit. This kit, just because the construction's so different and unusual and new to me, I don't expect it to be exactly the same. I don't expect the construction of the second limb to be as fast as it typically is. For like pretty much any other kit. Wait, there it is. Okay. Yeah, really interesting, the construction process for this. Oof. We're supposed to angle that forward first, like that, and then put that on, and then straighten this out like that. So that's how we get our arm inner frame. Very interesting. Now we have a 148 Structure Arts front mission. Oh, is that what that other kit was? Was there a new front mission kit? There was. There's a bunch of stuff at the hobby show, and it's just kind of hard to keep up with everything because there's a lot of different franchises. Like front mission, I have some front mission kits, like some of those sets, and I enjoy those designs. But I've not played the game. I just don't have much experience with it or anything. Oh no! What the? Even these parts have like a locking mechanism, which is weird. These circle parts here on the joints, you have to put that on and then turn it. How though? Okay, it does actually kind of turn slightly. That's wild. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. It's too much. It's too much. Like, why do these little circle parts on the elbows? And I'm assuming it's going to be the same for the knees and the ankles as well. Like, these don't need to turn and lock into place. Like, it's really unnecessary. That's just going to make it that much harder to do this one. Can you imagine once these parts are actually painted, having to fuck around with these parts this much and like having to put them on, like turn it if it's not like turning right? It's going to be such a pain. Not looking forward to that. It's one thing that I can say not a big fan of. And this goes to the point that some people ask sometimes, like, how the hell is this part going? Okay, like that. Some people ask about like how Bandai is like going to continue to innovate into the future, like we've seen them use like in more modern kits. I mean, like more like the armor sliding gimmick and stuff. Like there was a time when master grades didn't have armor sliding gimmicks, and that was a new thing and a new technology. And but now excuse me, but now it's not now it's just kind of like standard. And so people wonder, myself included, like how Bandai will continue to innovate these models in the future. And I'm certain that they'll find a way, because they've always been able to find a way to interestingly innovate on these kits. But how exactly they're going to do that, you know, who knows? And using more of like this like locking system, engineering the parts in a way to make the kits interlock, make the parts like lock together, it's just not necessary in so many of these cases that we've seen with this one so far for a lot of these parts. So damn, and I cannot get this part on here either, so bear with me for a moment. It's this part. I don't know if I just need to like very slightly trim this little bit here, the back. Yeah, I'll drink some water. Give me a moment. Sorry about that. So it says to pull this part down, but like, okay. And then put this part on. Okay. But it doesn't, it's not like actually pressed on all the way. And just wondering why. What can happen sometimes is there's just like a little sneaky piece of a nub in there that's just kind of blocking the, especially on like real teeny tiny little parts like this, all it takes is just a little bit of plastic in the way that can like kind of keep parts from fitting properly. But I don't know what's the deal with this one. God damn. So let's see, hang on. Give me a moment. Oh. That's the problem. I'm trying to trying to put it onto the wrong side of the arm. The arm is turned around, so it had us like looking at the arm this way. So for like the construction of step 7-6, for example, we're going through step 7-6, we do this, we put that part on the back, then it goes to step 7-7, and then we've got the part turned around this way. And there was not, I mean, you should look at the picture and I could tell, but I just didn't notice that. So silly me. But there, once I figured that out, then I know that part actually does go onto there just fine. I was just struggling mentally. I mean, give me a break. It is my third live stream of the day, and it's only 1 p.m. And I haven't had a meal yet, too. No, okay. See, this is funny. Ugh. Ugh. Ost asked if it's the same hands like on the original RG. No, the hands are just fixed post hands with this one. We were talking about this earlier. So it's a huge improvement. The hands are really nicely detailed and they're fixed post, so you don't have to worry about any issues with those. Now here's what I find funny. You know how I was talking about a lot of the pegs using like the locking mechanism where they have a little tab sticking out, so when you put the piece on the peg, it only fits in one particular way, and then you have to turn it to get it into the correct position, and that also then will lock that piece into place. And what I said just a moment ago when we were talking about that I like that system on parts like the limb connections, because then you don't have to worry about a limb falling off. In this case, we don't actually have that on the actual peg connecting the arm to the body. It's a long peg. So what they did, so there's a couple of ways to avoid the limbs falling off. Is number one, like a locking mechanism on the peg, like I'm talking about. Another option is just making the peg longer, and that's what they've opted to do here. They just opted for a relatively long peg here. And I think the other reason, actually, before I get ahead of myself, seems like the other reason for that is just because of the way that the shoulder armor fits on, because the shoulder armor actually has to fit over the peg first before we put the arm on. So it actually probably isn't even to do with the idea of making sure that the limb doesn't fall off. It's just a matter of they had to make the limb long enough to account for the shoulder armor and the arm being connected onto there. So, all right, use that peg locking mechanism for everything else but the actual limbs. It's an interesting decision, but okay. All right. Here's where you can see some of that two-tone armor, which, like I said at the start, one of the things that makes this different from the 1.0 is that we don't have so much of the multi-tone colored armor. It's like for the red, it's all red. For the blue, it's all blue. For the white, though, we do have two-tone white. Actually, am I wrong? It could just be that I'm just thinking too much about the MG 3.0, but the RG also had like two-tone blue and two-tone red, didn't it? I'm pretty sure. What's going on, Hasaki? I know that you were here for either one or both of the other streams this morning. But you made it to this one too. Very nice, thank you. Fixed pose hands is mandatory by current industry standards. Give us at least 8 options. Hey, yeah. I would love to see more fixed pose hand options in high grades as well, but hey. To be fair, I think from Bandai's point of view, the reason why they don't include more fixed posed hand options in their high grade sets is because of the fact that they sell the builder's part sets. So, you know, the point is they want you to buy the 1/44 scale HD parts, builder's parts hands or whatever, or like the build fighters versions, which are now sold as like a separate thing. They're not they've been rebranded. They're not part of like the build custom lineup or whatever, build custom part set or whatever that was. So anyway, yeah, they sell other different hand option part sets that you can get. So that's their reasoning for not including more with each kit. So, yeah, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. I do kind of want to take a moment and get this shoulder armor built so the parts are out of the way here real quick. But even though it's a very foreign and different and new construction process for this kit, I am noticing that building the second arm is, as per usual, it is definitely faster and easier than the first arm. That's the case with this one as well. What's up, peeps? What is up? Any review on non-Japanese paint brands? Not really review. I've done. I did a build using Sunin 7 paints, and also did a build using E7 paints, if I remember correctly. I don't really like to do like a video as like a dedicated review, like a dedicated paint review. It's more so like I'll use the paints for a particular build and maybe then like kind of discuss briefly, but I feel like it's kind of hard to do paint reviews because I don't know, it's different. Reviewing paint is not like reviewing like a model kit, I feel like. I don't know, because I feel like I have like from my experience building a model kit, like for this kit, if I'm reviewing this particular kit, I have my experience of building this kit, and then also like my experience of just, you know, comparing my experience building this kit to all the other kits I've built, so like I can talk about this in context. But like for painting, there's kind of a lot more to painting than just your experience. I would have to, number one, I would have to use the paint for an extended period of time, and like an extended set of circumstances. I would have to use it in a lot of different ways to really give like an actual like comprehensive review of what are like the pros and cons of a particular paint brand. Because also, I mean, it's hard to speak on the consistency of quality of a paint brand as well if I'm only like, if I no hate but like a lot of paint review videos that I've seen, and I may have done this at some point in the past too, I don't recall, but someone could say you've done that exact same thing, and you're probably right. But a lot of paint review videos usually consist of like the person will maybe paint a full model. More likely they're gonna paint, you know, sometimes they will, or sometimes they'll just paint like some spoons and then like share their thoughts. And ultimately it's not really a very comprehensive way to review like the quality of a paint, because yeah, I mean, if you used the paint like for 10 minutes, it's not really enough to be able to say, because then what can happen, I don't know if this does happen, but it certainly could happen. This is why you have to use the paints extensively and more to have an actual good grasp of this. But you know, the paint company, if it's not good, might produce, you know, a batch of one particular color, and then, you know, 6 months later when they produce another batch of that color, the color is slightly different or the consistency is slightly different. You know, that's where like paint quality from one brand to another might change, is like the consistency of the product. And it's hard to gauge that if you use the paint for 5 minutes and say, yeah, it sprayed good color, good consistency, you know, good coverage. I mean, any paint's gonna be like that. Like, the only bad experience I've ever had with a paint brand that I didn't like was one where I felt the paint, it was like a acrylic type paint, and I just felt that it wasn't strong enough like for this, like that particular paint. I won't say what it was, but it would be good for like painting minis or something like that maybe, but for something like this, it just wasn't like good. It scratched way too easily. It was kind of a pain to airbrush too. So yeah, but that was only with one particular paint where it was like kind of like a specialized one and didn't work well. But anyway, for paint, it all depends on the weather. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, weather can make a difference. The experience of the person, you know, doing the review. Because some paints are like, to get the mixture, to get the ratio just right. I mean, you can't always say like, oh, it's like with Gaia Notes, it's like a 6:2 ratio, and with Mr. Hobby, it's a 8:1 ratio or whatever. Like, that's kind of like a good like generic basis to go off of. But then it's like, it comes down to like the skill and experience of the modeler to be able to, once you're actually mixing it, to be able to tell if this is the right consistency or not, and then to be able to adjust it one way or the other. Like, if I got some paint that was a new paint that I wasn't used to, and I read online that the consistencies should be, or like the thinner ratio should be 50-50. So like, I take the time and actually get it like exactly 50-50, and then I go to spray it and it's not spraying right. You know, I could say, oh, this paint sucks. I did it like how they said, and it didn't spray right. Whereas like someone with more experience might know that it just needs a little bit more thinner, and then it sprays fine. So anyway, yeah, that's where I come down to. That's why I don't really do like paint reviews so much. And it's a very long answer, but it is I don't want to say it's like a pet peeve, but it is something that I don't want to say that it's something that like I don't agree with people doing. Like if people want to do paint reviews and however people want to do paint reviews is fine. But I will just say, like, for me and my experience, yeah, I have done paint reviews and I don't remember exactly how I've done every single one. But as far as I can remember, and what I would generally say would be kind of my personal kind of rule or way to go about doing a paint review would be to just use the paint to paint a kit and share some thoughts. But yeah, it's certainly not something that I would want to make as like a core feature of the content that I'm producing about just reviewing different types and brands of paint and stuff. I don't know. Anyway. All right. A lot of people hate the Testers brand, Hasaki said, and I can say the times I've used it, most of the time it did come out all right. I mean, yeah. If anybody wants to see paint reviews and samples, check out PM Paint. I don't know the channel, but yeah, there you go. Paints have so many variables. Yeah, variables. What's up, Mercenary? All right, so here we've got some more locking parts for these bits. That's one for the knee. That's the other one for the knee. And here's the one I'm looking for the ankle, I think, right? Yeah. Nope, it was this one. So it's kind of a cool gimmick, the fact that these circle parts on the elbows, knees, and ankles like need to go on a certain way and then lock into place. It's kind of like a cool feeling of like these parts sort of, it gives you like as like the mechanic building it that these are gonna like, ooh, turn and lock. It's like kind of realistic as feeling, I guess, sort of, but like as far as it goes from as like a model kit, really unnecessary and just seems like I don't anticipate it's going to be a big problem, but I don't anticipate it's going to be helpful whatsoever once it comes to actually painting the kit. If anything, it could be an issue in just making the more difficult to put the kit back together after painting, and makes it more possible that you might end up scratching the paint or something like that, trying to get the part on there just right, if it's more of a pain to actually get the parts to go together when it's just kind of unnecessary. I think I was supposed to put this part on first, but let's see, still got it. And personally, I don't mind. I mentioned this before, but just to say again, I don't mind the fact that we don't have like 2 tones of red and 2 tones of blue with this one. And I think, realistically, part of the reason why I don't mind at all is just because I know like I can just paint it if I wanted to. But I understand absolutely for people, if that is something that they are going to not like about this kit, the fact that it doesn't have as much of those separate colors. Because if you don't paint, I mean, that can be something that just makes your kit look better straight out the box. If that's subjective, but makes it look a little bit nicer to have more colors and everything going on, right? And that is something else that's kind of like a staple of the RG line, is the fact that the kits are made in a way so that they look really good without like any extra work, just like snapped up right out of the box. They're made to look like they've been painted with all the like multi-tone colors and everything like that. So For people who are big fans of the real grade line, there is definitely some, kind of signature features of the line that are done away with for this release, and I can understand some people might not be happy about that. And I imagine there's probably a lot of people that are not happy with the fact that we're getting a 2.0 RX-78-2 at all. Probably a lot of people would have preferred something entirely new. I can understand that as well, but personally, I like the RX-78-2, so. And again, the big thing for me is, how does the kit look? Does it look cool? If it looks cool, then I'm happy, and this is a really nice looking kit, I gotta say. I was not a big fan of the, is that right? Okay. In terms of just like different versions of the RX-78-2 design, the real grade and also the master grade 3.0 being kind of based on the 1-to-1 Gundam there, those all kind of sharing the same design. It's not one of my favorite versions of the RX-78-2 design. I do like how it looks in the form of the Mega Size kit, which is also based on the same design. But for the MG 3.0 and the RG, I don't really like it as much. Like for the MG, I much prefer either the Ver.2.0 or the Origin version, which I know are also kind of just like different versions of the Gundam, but those are my preferred versions. Other than that, I think like the 2.0. Also, I prefer the look of the 2.0 even more than that, but all right. Man, after all this, we're finally with that done with the inner frame for the legs. So yeah, it's definitely as far as like the inner frame goes for the kit, definitely. Oh, actually, we're not quite done because we can actually put these parts on here too. I think these kind of count for leg frame parts here too, right? This is definitely the most complex frame of the kit would be here on the legs, definitely. Let's see. This has a certain way again to go onto here. Oh, on the knee parts, actually, we don't have to actually twist this part to lock it on. You just press it on normally, which I don't know why they couldn't have made the ones for the elbows and the ankles in the same way, but all right. I don't want to keep harping on that too much. I think you guys get the idea that I'm less than pleased with that aspect of the design. It's a minor thing, but just an observation. All right. And with this, we're just about done with the leg here. Another thing that I really like. So I was saying that I much prefer this version of the RX-72 design compared with the 1.0. One of the aspects that I like is that the legs are chunkier on this, kind of more closer. And actually, there's a lot of this about this design that seem to me like a lot closer to the. It's not strictly like a Ver.2.0, like Katoki design here for this one, but there's a lot about, especially like the proportions, that seem more in line with the Katoki design, the RX-78-2. I think it doesn't exactly have the same proportions, but it's close anyway. And some of the features, like the bulkier legs, like bulkier calves. I've actually got an idea. I mentioned this earlier. The idea that I have for customizing this kit, I think would be really cool and very tempted. I might have to go ahead with that idea, but we'll see. Like I said, I'm trying to finish my old to gold Zaku cannon. Oh, the camera went off again? Really? Battery should have lasted longer than that. That's a bit troubling. Let's see. Hopefully that won't happen again. We're kind of almost done here. Hopefully it's not anything more serious than that, but all right. As I was saying, yeah, my old to gold Zaku cannon. Working on that. Hopefully, my hope would be that at some point next week, I'll finish all of the construction. Like I'll basically have it ready to paint by the end of next week, and then the following week can get it like painted and finished and everything. That would be great. And then maybe, just maybe, in the meantime, kind of in between that, we might do the customization work on this guy. And then so we can just basically get right to painting this after that. We'll see. Because the actual, like, what I'm actually planning on doing as far as customizing on this one, it's nothing too complex. Like, it's not going to be like it's not going to be a ton of work. It's basically just swapping the backpack and weapons a little bit, but just kind of the backpack and weapons are kind of go hand in hand as it's kind of like a set, sort of. Don't want to give it away, but I am open to the idea of you guys trying to guess what it is. So basically my idea is to swap the backpack, yeah, and yeah, the weapons. I don't know how else I can really say it other than that. Yeah, the weapons go with the backpack, sort of. Anyway, uh-oh. Speaking of Katoki, the Mark II Ver.2.0 would be fantastic. Yeah. You know, it would also be fantastic. Speaking of marks, a Mark V MG reissue. That would be fantastic. That's supposed to be turned down. There we go. So yeah, anybody want to take a stab at trying to guess what kit I might have in mind for swapping the backpack for this guy? I don't think you're gonna get it. The new Gundam, no, it's a good guess. It would make sense. It would look good. Yeah. RX-78 gun cannon? Nope. Nope. And the reason why I'm like kind of so keen on this idea and kind of excited about it is because my first thought was to go something like along those lines, like something that would not necessarily like make sense canonically, but like Epion? No. Gundam 0405. Yeah, like Jerome, like something like that. Like giving it, like that would make sense. Giving it parts from basically a different version of the same Gundam. So like the Gundam 04, 05, or like the Mudrock, or like the HG, the Origin backpack, or like we recently had the, I thought about this. We recently had the Jim shoulder cannon missile pod, like the HG, the Origin. So my first thought was if I'm going to kit bash this with anything, a good place to look for ideas was going to be the HG, the Origin line, because with how detailed this kit is, any other kind of like HG stuff is not going to match. It would be too plain compared to how detailed this is. But the HG, the Origin line, those kits are actually pretty highly detailed. So I thought aesthetically it might work. And so I actually looked at the Jim shoulder cannon and was thinking about using some parts from that, and possibly still may. Like the side skirt missile pods from that kit might actually look good on this, maybe. But then I thought, I was looking at ideas, and I came across something that was so different that I thought that could work and be very interesting. Full armor will look superb on this. Yeah, I would, man. I'm hoping and praying that Bandai will make a full armor version of this or something. I don't think so. Some Chinese dude put Thunderbolt Gundam parts on it. You're actually really close. So it is something from Thunderbolt, but not the Thunderbolt Gundam, actually. But you're on the right path, thinking Gundam Thunderbolt. I like where your brain is headed. Let's see. Oh, Atlas? No, yeah, not quite that weird. Yeah. Yeah, Hunter Ghost, you're right. Sort of. Not Psycho Gundam, but Psycho Zaku, actually, yeah. So, yeah, I was thinking using the Psycho Zaku's, the HG version. So the Master Grade would be, that's kind of one of the differences with that kit. The Master Grade and the High Grade, the backpack's different anyway, but the High Grade version has the two long tanks instead of like the one huge tank and the two long ones. But yeah, the Psycho Zaku is what I was thinking for this. Those round feet's just ugly. Thunderbolt, ground Gundam. Yeah. I know what you're talking about, Hisaki. Yeah, the kind of like hovercraft looking feet that it has. Yeah, it's a super cool design, the Thunderbolt ground Gundam. I like it a lot. I thought about that, but yeah, actually the the Psycho Zaku backpack is actually what I'm thinking for this guy. And I thought I had that kit, and I was looking around at my house last night to find it so that I could check it out, but it turns out I couldn't find it, so apparently I don't have it. I know I built it and I reviewed it, but I think I maybe must have either given it away or sold it or something like that, because I apparently don't have it anymore. And I have a lot of kits at my house and kind of like my storage of models there, but apparently, and I have them like pretty well cataloged as well too. So like I have everything like written down in a notebook, everything that I own. So it's not like whoa, hang on. It's not like I somehow misplaced or something. I don't think it's possible. But anyway, long and short of it is that I'm gonna have to get another one. So I might end up finding it later. It's very possible. But we actually have it in stock here at USA Gundam Store, so I'm just gonna get another one. And you know, if I someday come across my missing one, well, I'll just have another one that I can use for something else someday. But yeah, so kind of in the meantime, while I'm trying to finish up the my old to gold Zaku Kennen, in the meantime, I can work on just like getting the parts ready for kit bashing this guy, and then yeah, and it's just a matter of the actual kit bashing of those two will just be a matter of just making the backpack fit onto this one, which I don't think will be too difficult. Let's see. That's this side. So yeah, it should fit on here. There we go. Yeah, just need to modify the backpack to fit on. And actually one thing that is cool about it, one thing that's cool is that if you notice on this design, right, oh, sorry, let me hold it in place where you can see. Right here, I think there's enough space to make, if you take a look at like the Psycho Zaku, the hoses that are like connected on like the front of the Zaku 2 of the torso, they're connected into the backpack. So at first I was thinking, well, I'll just not use those. But then I thought, actually leaving those on, connected to the backpack, wrapped around the waist of the Gundam and connected right here, I think might work. So there's kind of like a space sort of right there where you could just have that part that connects the hoses, make it look like it's kind of connected here, and the hoses go around and connect onto the backpack. I think it might actually work. So we'll see. That's just what I'm thinking at the moment. Actually, I might try to go. Might grab that kit today, and like I said, I'll just kind of tinker with that a little bit and just kind of see how that's looking. And if it works, cool. And if it doesn't work, we might not do that, or might not do anything with this kit for the time being. We shall see. But for right now, with the completion of this leg, the main body is done. We can just get our accessories here built up real quick, and we'll call it a day on the live stream. I'm going to go get the review recorded so that I can have that out hopefully for you guys this weekend. This would be ideal. So there's that guy. Oh, what's up, Michael? Yep, Hasaki is here too. All right. I'm not finishing the stream yet. I am going to build the accessories. Yeah, I know. I was kind of, by the way, I was saying that I realized like I was kind of making it seem like I was about to cut off the stream here. Not quite yet. I was just saying that as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to go work on the review. Yeah. What's up, Mike? Mike, if you're just coming in, you might have just missed it. I was just talking a little bit about what my potential plan might be as far as customizing this kit. And let me be interested to hear. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, Hasaki, send me a link if you have something to show me. I missed what it is in the chat that you're sending me a link for, but yeah, feel free. Send me a link. But yeah, Mike. What I was just mentioning a moment ago, that I, whilst kind of brainstorming what I thought might be cool for customizing this kit, I thought of using the HG Psycho Zaku, the Thunderbolt Psycho Zaku backpack on this. And that would be pretty cool. I don't know. That's pretty much the extent of it. No other explanation other than that. So obviously not going for anything like canonical, and not even. And I think that's like kind of the one thing for me. Like while I was thinking about it, I was thinking like, I think it will look really cool. But then I'm thinking like, okay, how, like trying to wrap my head around like, okay, how does this kind of like work in canon? Like, how do I like think about it? Like, okay, let's say, for example, I'm trying to like justify it to myself, like thinking maybe we make it look like an RX-78-2 that was stolen or whatever by like Xeon forces, and then, you know, outfitted with this backpack. And then I was kind of realizing like, okay, just you don't have to actually, it doesn't have to actually make sense in canon. You can just make a cool custom build, and like just trying to snap myself out of that kind of thinking and just focus on, you know, just make something cool and not worry about like trying to make it make sense in canon. So going back to work next week, recovering from surgery. Oh no, hopefully it wasn't anything serious. I don't think that I'd heard anything about that, but yeah, hope you're doing okay. Going back to work, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I don't know. Feel like maybe it depends on what you do and how much you enjoy it. I could see, like, you know, after having like a surgery and not being able to work for a week, or, you know, whatever, a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is, after having an experience like that, and then I could kind of see how for some people, you know, maybe you might be feeling like you're ready to get back to work, whereas for other people maybe it might be the opposite, that you're thinking like, dreading going back to work. I guess the hope is that you're never dreading going to work, so hopefully it'll be nice to get back to work, but everybody might be a little bit different. Out for 3 weeks, yeah. Good, just old, yeah. I know, I understand. Fortunately, not too acutely yet, but I definitely know what you mean. I had to, not like miss full days, but I had to handle a couple of health things recently, and nothing too serious at all, but it does happen a little bit more, little by little. Are you still working on your GBWC entry? So no. The easy answer is just no. No, I'm not. And I mean, I just don't know. I don't even want to say like if I am still going to or not. I also don't want to say that I've completely abandoned the idea, because as I talked about in my video, like talking about that plan, the idea that I wanted to go with for that is an idea that I've had, and although like in the process of kind of thinking about it more seriously as like a GBWC entry recently, earlier this year, one of the things, like the idea did kind of end up changing a little bit from what like kind of I was originally thinking, but still, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an idea that, you know, I've had for a while, and I would, you know, I'm still going to keep the idea in my mind. So I don't want to say that like I've given up on the idea. It is still something that I would like to make. But as far as making it for this year's GBWC, yeah, kind of basically given up on that idea. But I mean, I don't want to like make an excuse for myself, because I feel like a number of reasons. But like one thing which I will say, you know, on my own behalf is maybe a little bit of an excuse, is that I didn't necessarily pick a good time, like just in my life and in my family's life, to decide that I wanted to do something like that. Because like at the beginning of the year, I was like, yes, I really want to do that, like feeling like very sure that I really wanted to, enter GBWC this year. Considering like just kind of what's been going on at home, and in particular like with my wife going through her treatment for breast cancer and everything like that, which has been going fine. And I think I often hear from you guys asking about that, and so that's all good. But yeah, it wasn't very cohesive. It wasn't a very cohesive time for like the dedication that you kind of have to put towards a project like that, where it just requires me to be able to prioritize one project like that when I kind of have a lot of other stuff going on and just all of my responsibilities for doing work like this. I mean, like, so a lot of kits coming out all the time, and I do need to kind of keep up with the reviews and things. And I think that one of the things, and this is one of the things that I was very aware of going into the project, and I knew would be something that would kind of trip me up, is my tendency to like go for new shiny objects and get distracted from long work in progresses and things like that, which is one reason why I just typically usually don't really do long bigger, longer projects. As I think that ability and the ability to go from one like shorter project to the next, and then also just that style, I think really works for me for just like what I enjoy doing, and also it works well with what I do here for making content on the channel. It's like I don't like just the way that I have to work to like keep up with building models and making reviews, but then I can also make time to work on projects. But to make the time to work on a project for months at a time, it's just kind of harder to do. Whereas like what I'm talking about, what I might want to do with this kit, where it's just basically a matter of changing the backpack so it's 1 day's maybe worth of like modification work that's going to be required on it, really not all that much. And then it's just a matter of just painting the kit and decaling and everything like that. That all takes time. But that sort of time schedule for a custom project is a lot more reasonable, a lot easier to handle with everything else that I do. But I don't know. Anyway, but if that makes sense, it's just kind of like different ways to justify that. Either that, or I'm just not dedicated enough to really want to, do a big project and throw my hat in the ring, or I'm not confident enough in my skills and just afraid that I'm not going to be able to do what I really want to do successfully. And so rather than trying and failing, I just don't try. I mean, different interpretations. You can take whichever one works best for you, but I think it's a combination of all of the above, I think. And so for that reason, yeah, I'm not working on GBWC. But the project idea is still a project idea I've had for a long time, and I would really like to do in some way. The idea might change again later, but I don't know. We'll see. But for now, I'm not working on it. Working on lots of other things, though. But the most important thing for me is that I feel bad. I feel bad to like kind of start a project, even though I didn't even really necessarily even start on the GBWC entry, but at least I started like planning it. But anyway, what I feel bad is to like plan the project and kind of like announce it to you guys as like, here's this thing that I'm going to be making, and basically to kind of hype it up so that you guys are excited to see the progress on it, and then I kind of abandon it, then you guys kind of feel bad. So I feel bad to do that to you guys, to kind of hype you up on something that I'm going to be working on and you're going to be excited about watching like come to fruition, and then just kind of abandoning that. But at the same time, I feel like so long as I'm working on projects, even if it's smaller projects like this, like whatever I end up doing with this one or whatever I end up doing like with my old to gold Zaku cannon kit that I'm working on, I feel like most of you guys are probably willing to forgive that, so long as that I am working, making custom projects and sharing that with you guys and showing you guys different custom builds and stuff. I know that a lot of you guys just like to see that kind of content. So as long as it's one thing, you don't really care if it's one thing or the other. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get to work on the review for this guy so that I can have that out for you guys as soon as possible. In the meantime, I do know that the batch that we've gotten of this kit so far here at USA Gundam Store, I think is all sold out, but you can pre-order for the next batch. So if you've not ordered the kit yet and you would like to get it, you can't get it right now, but you can pre-order for the next batch of this kit, which is coming in. I think it's supposed to be in later this month, towards the end of the month, I believe. So yeah, I can definitely recommend it if you've not built, well, even if you have built the 1.0 RG, it's a great RG, you know, for whatever justification you need, whatever reason you like it. You know, whether you're just a fan of the RX-78-2 or you're curious to see kind of what's new and different about this version compared to the 1.0, whatever the reasoning might be, I would say this kit is definitely worth picking up, definitely worth checking out. It's really nice, with some interesting differences to the first one. Interesting differences that I think make it so that it doesn't feel like, it feels like it's its own thing. It doesn't feel like it's just a slightly better version of the same kit. No, it feels like a completely new, different, original kit. So it's got some really interesting armor opening gimmicks, like this bit here at the back of the leg that can open up like that. These shoulder flaps, the front and back halves of like the shoulder armor can move up and down like that. So anyway, yeah, it's got some really nice features. Fun build process, very detailed. Some people might not even like how detailed it is. It looks like very freckled with a lot of little bits of the frame poking out through the armor, to a degree that some people might not like the look of that. Too freckly, I guess would be a good way of describing that. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much. That's a wrap on the third and final live stream of the day. Again, if you're coming in later and you missed the first live stream earlier today, go back and check that out. If you missed the live stream over on the USA Gundam TV channel, go back and check that out too. Adam and I talked a lot about kind of the hurricane situation here, kind of what's new, and of course answered a bunch more of you guys' questions. So check that out. Get some lunch. Yeah, I do need some lunch, and I didn't bring anything. So I asked one of the guys to get me something. They were going to go out and see if any place was open nearby. I think the problem is a lot of the places nearby here won't be open today because of there's still like some areas still kind of flooded around here. So I don't know if there's anything to eat, but if there is, I'm going to find it. So that's it for now. See you guys. I will be actually the next live stream. Let me just get this in here right at the very end. Next week, I do have a couple of live streams planned. One is going to be on an old Kotobukiya Armored Core kit, so look out for that. That'll be interesting. And then another one is on an old Bandai kit. But I won't give away which one yet. I'll let you know next week. I'll see you then. Bye, guys.